Hello, everybody. Been a minute, hasn't it? Been 34 months since I've posted a video on this channel, and I have to say, it's about time I probably post something here to make sure everyone knows I haven't died or something. Uh, so yeah, there's some catching up to do here. So it's been a good 3 years though. I just want to say it's been I've actually had some productive years uh, since my last video. I just left it on such a bad note, and I kind of just forgot entirely about this channel. Really, it just kind of went to the back of my mind, and I haven't really paid any attention to it. So, where do I start? I got a little notepad here to help me, but there's so much to go over. So let's start with what happened. What threw me off my course and everything. And I guess probably could have guessed it, maybe, maybe not, from the last few videos. I believe I probably mentioned something about going to a music festival, and I did go to that music festival, and I did it at the end of my like 50-day challenge or something like that, and I pretty much completed the challenge, really. And then my reward for after completing the challenge was to go to this music festival. So I stayed strong and I did that. But when I went to the music festival, I learned some new lessons. Um, so basically, I partake in party favors. I always have. I've enjoyed that kind of stuff when I go to shows and festivals, but usually I just, back when I posted this video, I was only going to like one festival a year, and that was the one I went to, this dance fest. And I I took some stuff there. I was just having a good time. It's nothing new. It's stuff I've done, for years. But like I said, I've really practiced moderation in that I only do those events like once a year. So it's only a few days of the year I'll do this stuff. But this time around things were a little different. So it turns out that when I take psychedelics and, dissociatives and stuff like that, um, multiple days in a row might be part of the equation. Uh, and then I see beautiful women and interact with them and get any positive response from them. It creates a chemical like cocktail in my brain that makes me go crazy, not in the moment, but in due time. Like it just kind of sets off like uncontrollable like thoughts, that kind of just like feed into each other. And it's basically sets me off into a manic episode, like, but I'm not bipolar as far as I know, but it's like a drug induced kind of, thing. And so what happened was I was like really, just suffering from the after effects of that, triggering at the festival. And then I came back, and then I was just going through like really crazy highs, and then, for like a day or two, and then the next couple days or next day I would be really low and just really depressed. It's like my I was just like high low, and it was all like, I would feel on top of the world. I'd feel like a god. And it was actually, to be honest, a pretty crazy, experience that, was kind of interesting to experience. But the thing is, I paid the price. And, eventually I went into, after I kind of stabilized, I had to get, help. And, so that was a thing. Um, and then I ended up going into a the worst depression of my entire life. And from like November all the way until like it wasn't until like middle of March where I started feeling better, maybe end of February. But I wasn't even able, like my dopamine like was just fried. Like I had none left for myself. Like I couldn't even I could barely get out of bed. Like I didn't even feel like playing video games. Like eventually, like after I started feeling better from like antidepressants I was taking, I could get out of bed and eat, and I could, sit up in bed and play Red Dead Redemption 2. And that's kind of how my winter went that year. And then um by the way, in my manic, madness, we'll call it, I did end up quitting my job. And So I did not work that winter at all. I was, luckily I had enough financial, capital to support myself throughout that time. And yeah, so it was it was a it was a hell of a time, but it was also, I like to see things in a positive light and see like, having experienced that, how can I become better? What can I learn from it? And that's what I'm doing. So there's that. But at the end of the day, once spring rolled around, I was able to repair my relationship with my job, and you don't have to worry. Everything's fine now, and in fact, things have never been better. It's very very good relation I have with my boss and everything, so everything's good on that end now. But it was just in jeopardy for a hot minute there. So that explains what happened, I would say, for the most part, why I got thrown off my rails. And I want to say I've changed my approach to life in general a lot since tracking every minute of my time on an Excel sheet. I really do think that looking back, I do think that is very ridiculous and hardcore. It's just I spent so much time staring at an Excel sheet when I could have been just attacking my goals, but back then I was dealing with mental blocks, mental barriers and stuff. And that is why mindset, your psychology and mindset is the number one investment you got to be making in life, in my opinion. Moving on, um, yeah, I said, yeah, about mindset and psychology though. I just want to say, like, how I feel about it now is like I could lose everything. Like, I could lose, like, if I lost everything tomorrow, like if I lost all my money, my job, and everything, I would be okay. I truly believe that I would be able to rebuild, and it would probably make me a much stronger person than I am now, having gone through that experience. It's it'd be a true test of minimalism, that's for sure. But anyway, I just want to emphasize the importance of that. You know, when in doubt, focus on mindset, psychology, good stuff. So, I didn't start feeling better. I'm talking 2024 now, spent the whole winter depressed. And then, the spring through, I think it wasn't until I was just working a lot in like, the early summer. But then in August, I started turning things around in a big way. Like that's when I started like getting back into like attacking my goals. And I became like I had a mindset of being a good student, like in my mind, like a good student, like is someone who like takes notes, and they do their homework, they study, I was doing that with the online class I was taking, and I became a star pupil. I was like, I was like the guy in class who like, knew what he was doing, and other people would, come to me for advice, or like I would be critiquing other people's homework. So it was kind of cool. And I'm not used to being that role. I was like when I took calculus class, I've been on both sides of the coin. It, I had to retake calculus, and the first time I took it, I was the guy asking other people questions. They were helping me get through it. But then I retook it and I applied myself. I'm like, I got to go to the tutor center. I got to treat this subject with respect. And then I became the guy that other people came to for questions. So it's like when you apply yourself, that's where the magic happens. Might sound a little cheesy or whatever, but that's how it is in my experience. So yeah, so since like August of 2024, so it's almost been 2 years now where I've been kind of on a good note with myself and just kind of making steady progress. Um, but then we'll fast forward those 2 years up to the end of June this year, end of June 2026, and that's where I decided it's at that point. I've been working hard. I've been working so hard on myself. I've been making good progress, and then I'm like, listening to my friends saying like, "Oh, you should take a vacation. You work so hard all the time. You never do anything. You only give yourself 5% of your income to spend on things that aren't necessities." And I'm like, well, I'll use that 5% fund to go to a music festival, something I like to do, and I hadn't gone at that point, since 2023 where it all fell apart, you know? So, yeah, it sounds like a great idea, doesn't it? Well, I guess, you might be able to tell what happened. I don't know. I'll let you know. The same thing happened again, and, I thought I was being conservative, but the same thing happened again, and it hit me even harder this time, like, as far as, like, how I felt, amazing, and, but the thing is, yeah, I definitely went, like, manic again, but the thing is this time, I I was very close. I was very close to losing, like, my life savings, my job, even my life at one point, but I was able to recover. I was able to I bought some, like, I know it's me losing my sleep, which really triggers me, going crazy. So I took action and I went to the store and bought, like, some, ZzzQuil or something, like some, like, syrup to help you sleep because I knew I wasn't able to sleep on my own power, and that saved me. It saved I was able to get sleep, and then I just got better from there, and I I've I saved myself, and I was able to pick up all the pieces of my life, and, things turned out okay. So that was, like, a month ago. So and now, I'm maybe still reeling off of that experience, but, I don't know, I've had some like, this has been an amazing month, like, for me. I've really, really turned things up, like, in intensity, and things are going really, really well for me right now, like, seriously, like, so that's why you know, I I, uh, I didn't remember what I said in the last video, I just watched it a little bit ago, but I did say that if anything at the end of the video, I said, if anything significant or something happens, I would make it a priority to post, and share with other people. So that's what I'm doing here. And yeah. So really I think it's time for an update. So but yeah, so some of the things I've done, since since the end of June, I guess, after I got back from my festival and kind of stabilized, after the first week. I've I've rethought my life priorities. I kind of, you know, I have like a list of like the top 3 or 4 priorities I have in life, and from those I build off my goals, and then goals, I break them down from like, you know, 5 year, 3 year, 1 year, and then the 1 years I break into quarterly and then weekly goals. Like the weekly goals, if I do this and that and this, I should be on pace to meet my quarterly goals. And then my quarterly goals, they expand out to keep me on pace all the way through to my long-term goals. And it's been working very well. I do monthly reflections in my journal, and that's my favorite part of journaling. So I had an idea about maybe if I feel like it, I'm not going to force myself to, but uh, make a video to pair with my monthly reflection, because then I don't have to do weekly videos because that's kind of, it's a lot. It's a lot of work, and I don't want to work that hard. I got enough stuff to do here, so between personal life and my job, I have enough to keep me busy and then some. So, so yeah. Where was I? Yeah, goals, priorities. Yeah, and then I've shifted like my free time. Oh, there's a spider on the wall. My free time. I give myself free time at the end of the day after 7 p.m. when all my other work is done. So that means I used to be obsessed with this, like the dopamine release stuff. That stuff is like it's okay to do. I'm not gonna say I can't ever play video games or have fun or do anything like that. But I save it until the end of the day when all my other important kind of work that's pushing me towards my goals, accomplishing my goals, that is done during the day. And then at the end of the day, it's not as big of a deal because if I did, if I do those things in the morning, it saps my motivation for the rest of the day. For me at least, that's what it does. So I made that adjustment, and yeah, there's other some like supplements and techniques, strategies that I have been doing as well on top of that, but I'm gonna need a little bit more time to test those to make sure that they're actually doing something. Because a lot of the times for supplementation and those kind of things, they need like multiple weeks to even like multiple months sometimes to notice a difference. So I'll keep you all updated on that though. Um, yeah, I think that's almost everything I have on my list here, and yeah, so yeah, it's good to be back well and truly. But the truth of the matter is I've kind of been back mentally since yeah, the summertime of 2024. So it's been a couple of years, and I just been, you know, working on myself, but man, it just really felt like I had some mental blocks that were holding me back, and I think they're really starting to get lifted now, and I'm really starting to unlock my true potential here. And you know the potential's always there for everybody. It's just you gotta uncover it. Sometimes you gotta put in some work. You gotta find what works for you, and you just gotta never stop trying, never stop experimenting with different things. There's so many different things you can do out there. You just gotta find one that works for you, and hopefully you will find that. So that's my update here. um Yeah, when I don't have any notes, I don't know what else to say, I'm just gonna stand up here and we'll sit down really and just talk. So yeah, I hope you all have had a good few years in the meantime as well. And yeah, take care, and I'll see you next time.